What is up, everybody? It is I, the Salt King, Salty Tim. Finally, we have some official Craig Jones Invitational, the CJI. The CJI Ruleset official announcement. And your boy has it here. A quick, easy breakdown of the rules, of what we know so far, brought to you by Brandon McGaffrin. I appreciate him. Everyone knows who he is. Come on, if you don't, go look up his channel. I'll probably put a link in the description of his channel. It's like a 2.5 hour long podcast. But he is one of the announcers for the event. He dropped some of the rules for us. So I'm just going to go through them pretty quick. So you don't have to watch 2.5 hours if you don't feel like it. But hey, get right into this.
I know some people want the real competitiveness of everything, but we just want to be able to go out there and kick the shit out of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, right?
All right, starting with what we already knew. We knew that it was some kind of weird rule set where they're trying to kind of gain the MMA popularity, the MMA crowd. So they're going with that 10-point must system, 3 5-minute rounds, with the exception of the finals being 5-5-minute rounds with a 10-point must system. So the winner of the round will get the 10 points. Loser of the round will get 9 or less. And then we go into negatives, which we'll get into. But let's get into what we just learned. The new of the rules, official rules. These are not made up. This is what was officially announced to Brandon McGaffrin, who is one of the announcers, and he spilled the beans on it. We know legal techniques. All subs are legal. All subs are legal, whereas take something like ADCC, they don't allow like full Nelsons cranking on the neck with the hands behind the back. I think ours, it's kind of weird. I don't understand it, but hey, all subs legal. If you can think of a submission, it's probably legal. Obviously, the basic stuff of no eye gouging, no biting, things like that. Basic rules that kind of are, under every rule set out there. But as far as submissions go, all submissions are legal. Slamming. You can, just like an ADCC, you can slam out of a submission. You can't slam someone if you're not caught in a submission, but if somebody has you caught in a submission, you can slam them out of that. That's on the person to release that submission before they get power bombed if they have you in a triangle. No spiking. No spiking your opponent on their head. That's pretty much a rule that's covered under every jiu-jitsu competition, every MMA competition. So wrestling, I'm sure, no spiking on the head. Judges will have an indicator to signal to the referee when they feel that A, warning should be given, B, that stalling should be enforced. But the referee will take the judge's notice into consideration, but the ref will retain sole discretion on the call and the enforcement of warnings and stalling penalties. So it is all up to the ref. The judges are judging the match with the basic rules that are in place, which we'll get into more of how those are enforced and what takes precedence over other things in the match. And they can, push to the referee, hey, I feel like he should be getting a stalling penalty here. And they can tell him that during the match, but they do not dictate the actual negative points of the match. That is all on the referee himself. So you better have some really good fucking referees for this competition. Now, a ref following a warning notification can enforce a stalling penalty. In their sole discretion, the ref may apply a negative point or apply a negative point and reset the position. Now we get into kind of the meat and potatoes of this, the scoring criteria. I'm going to read this to you. Sorry if I'm not looking at the camera. I'm not that professional yet. Rounds will be judged individually on a 10-point must system. Under the 10-point must scoring system, 10 points are awarded to the winner of the round. 9 points or less are awarded to the loser. a submission always leads to an immediate winner of the match. If the athletes end up with the same score at the end of the match, the athlete who won the third round will win. And here we go. This is the good stuff right here. How are these matches going to be judged? That's what everybody wants to know. The following criteria will be used by the judges when scoring the round. A, initiating action. So whoever is pushing the pace the most, that's who's going to win the round. B, close subs and dynamic action, such as takedowns, passes, sweeps, etc. After initiating action, progressing through control and position to submission attempts weighs heavy on the judges. Positional control and dominant control, if all else is equal, the competitor who controlled the match positionally or dictated the pace of the match will be rewarded. Let's get into penalties now. And remember, penalties in this, it's not just like a negative like you would get in another competition, because this is based off a 10-point must system. The penalties actually come off of your 10-point must system in the round. So they're actually way heavier in this than they are in any other competition. Stalling and passivity will be determined by the referee when one athlete is purposefully slowing the pace, aggression, or flow of the match with no apparent strategy to move to a more dominant position or set up a submission. Stalling can be called for any position at all, including front or back mount positions, as well as all defensive positions. So the ref determines that there's no attempt to progress the position, whether you're on the defensive or offensive position of it, then he's going to hit you with a stalling penalty. If the ref determines you are trying to slow the pace of the match, you can be penalized for it. And here's the rules for the referee on how those negatives, how those penalizations will go on. When the referee determines an athlete is stalling, the ref will announce stalling warning to the athlete, and then if he does not make an attempt to initiate action shortly after receiving the warning, the point will be deducted. This one's interesting as well. Stalling will be enforced if any part of an athlete's back is touching the ground for more than 3 seconds without connection to the opponent. So there's no more like supine. You can't just like, if you're one of those like guys that has like a crazy good guard where you can just kind of lay on your back and, you know, throw your arms through your legs and just sit there and hold on, you know, to kind of kill time through the match. You can't do that. If you're not connected to the opponent, you have to at least be sitting up on your butt. So if you pull guard, you have to be sitting on your butt. If they push you down to your back and you just kind of lay there, you can't do it. After 3 seconds, they're going to give you a warning. You got to get up. You got to go after it. So even if you're on your butt, you got to be attacking. Standing person, they have to be attacking as well. A fighter cannot flee or run from a guard pull. They must defend, break, or engage the position. Fleeing or running from an engagement counts as stalling. If an athlete's hands or feet touch the top of the pit, they will be penalized. They will be given a warning first and then penalized if they keep doing it. So basically, you can't go to the edge of the mat, and then it's kind of like reaching over the cage in MMA. You can't reach over the top of the cage. So for this, you're going to be pushed up against the wall in the alley that they're calling it, pushed up against the slanted wall. You can't reach up over the top to use that to defend yourself or use it, you know, put your feet over the top. Maybe, I think it's to stop you from escaping, but basically you can be penalized. You can be given a warning, and then you will be penalized a point if you keep doing it. And then last, what we got, the information, point deduction, how they will stop the match and how they will deal with it. The referee will call a timeout. He will send the offending athlete to a neutral spot. He will let the corners and the judges know, and then they will reset in neutral. That's kind of a big thing here. So if you get popped for stalling, say you get taken down and you're mounted and you're just turtling up, you know, not turtling up because you're on your back, but you're, you know, covering up and you're just defending really well, but you're not really trying to escape the position. Maybe you were winning, who knows? Say you're going against a good wrestler, they're going to reset you back to a neutral position. They're going to have you standing back up. So if that's a wrestler, man, he's probably going to get more points. Not points, but like in the judge's favor, he's going to be taking you down again, most likely, because you can't run. You can't escape out of the pit. So, but that's what we got. That's what Brandon McGaffron released yesterday and gave us some good inside information. I really appreciate that because, you know, we're like really close to the event and nobody knew the rules. So it was kind of nice to know this. What do you guys think about these rules? I mean, as far as the ones that, that we got so far. Everything else he said is kind of basic stuff for tournaments and for jiu-jitsu matches, stuff like that. But I think this kind of shows you, at least the athletes know now what the judges are looking for. They're looking for complete offensive movements. They're looking for control of a match, who's dictating the match. They're really looking to push the pace with these athletes. I think they're trying to push for a lot of submission attempts. I don't think they want boring matches here, and that's what it seems like. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait to go watch this. I think it's going to be fun. I hope they test these rules out. I hope they didn't just kind of throw this together and then they're going to show up at their first main card with the CJI with $1 million on the line for these guys and then fuck it up. Like, that would be terrible. That's how fights will start and bad things could happen. So it's a lot of money on the line to be testing out a rule set. So hopefully they're in the gym somewhere testing these rules out. I don't know. Build a pit somewhere and run some matches. Maybe they should run an event a week before just to test it out with the judging and everything. So we'll see. What do you guys think, though? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking with these rules. How are they going to play out? How are these wrestlers going to do now? I think some of these rules kind of favor some of these wrestlers. So we'll see. But hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I'm curious what everyone thinks about this shit. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. As per usual, got to sell myself. Like, subscribe, comment, hit up the channel, guys. It just helps support me. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. But other than that, stay salty, my friends.